Okay, so there's this one issue that's been going on since 26th of July, which is filter by rating. It's not working in Chromium browsers. If we take a look at this, I said it's tested and works in Firefox. So I haven't been able to get back to this. So I'm going to try to solve it today. So if we see that the working example in Firefox, it works. So re-release, last seen, and rating. So rating is working. It's sorted by the first one, the highest one, to the in descending order into the last one, that is 2.25. So other than that, if it's null or 0, it will be undefined or just a tilde. Okay. Now if we take a look at the Chromium version, which is I use Microsoft Edge the version, date publish is working too. You release 2, last seen 2, and rating is not working. As you can see, nothing changes since the last one. So I'm going to try to tackle this today. If we take a look at the data first, which is the .json one, my first initial thought was that the rating is not sorted properly because the sort method in Chromium doesn't handle it as well as Firefox did. So as you can see, there's a number. It's an integer, a float, I guess float, but I think this is the culprit here. So this rating is null. This rating is also null, and I think there's some that is 0. Yeah, rating 0. So daemon layer is 0, but some of them are null. So if we could see that Majono tabi-tabi, it would be Majono tabi-tabi, it would be like this. So story, artwork, sound, characters. It will be parsed into a string, or a list of string that consists of these 4 string separated by commas. If we take a look at the Demon Slayer or Kimetsu no Yaiba, I guess there is nothing here, so it's treated as 0, right? So if there's nothing there, it's treated as 0. So we'll try to fix that first by looking at the data parsing. So it's in reviews, index JSON. So it's right here, count average rating. So if we press F12 here, we could just jump into the method, and as you can see, I try to handle it here. So if there is no rating, it will immediately return 0. But I guess I forgot to handle that. If the list of string cannot be parsed into integer, it will result into a isNaN, or not a number, and it will return null here. So I guess we could just check it here by saying that if some of the ratings inside are okay, some of the ratings inside is it's not a number, so it's none, we could just return 0. So if I say that Majono tabi-tabi, if I've reviewed the story and I say it's 10, artwork is 10, but I haven't reviewed the sound and characters, this will be not a number. This will go into the isNaN, and it will return 0 as well. Okay, let me save that. So TypeScript is complaining that argument of type string is not assignable to a parameter of type number. So we could just say that this is a string, but isNaN doesn't accept anything other than number. So confusing, because we are trying to check that if this is a number or not. So we could just say that this is any to silence it. Okay, so let's first see the result in the data here. If I refresh it, as you can see, Majono tabi-tabi becomes 0. So if I search for null, there should be no more results returned here. So phrase not found. So every null has been converted or casted to 0. Okay, let's check if it's working in the Chromium version. Waiting. Okay, so it's still not working, but I guess there's something wrong with the sort. So count average rating. Okay, so we have converted everything into 0 if it is undefined. So we could see in the reviews index that is this filter. So this thing is located in sort by, which is this thing sort by, that is this label, which is input of type radio, that is binded to filters.sort group. Filters.sort, that is this thing. So filters sort. So right now sort is just a string which is updated, but this is passed into this filter method in utils.search. So if we just press F12 here again, we can see that okay, if the key is sort, we will just continue because we are going to sort it after everything is filtered by the query right here. So return sort, that is the dictionary sort. So we're going to take what the sort is, if it's updated, published, released, last seen, or rating. So sort, if we press F12, it just goes to the bottom here. So we want to fix the rating, the type of rating. So we'll see that this is sorted by data.sort by ratings, which is this thing. So I think I've tried to handle this previously by saying that if it is null or undefined, it will just return a positive integer, which means that x will be in front of it, or vice versa. I forgot the specific term, but I think I've tried to solve it by using this, and I think this works in Firefox then. It works then, but I only tried it in Firefox, and a couple of days later I found out that it's not working in the Chromium version. So that's why I made this issue. I opened this issue. It's been a long time, but I just got the time now. So so I guess this is the culprit here. It won't ever enter this both of this if statement, but there's nothing wrong in leaving this be if there's by any chance there will be a null or undefined here. So this is just good to have, safe to keep here. So we're going to focus on the last two lines here, which is if it is not a number, if the rating in X object minus the rating in Y, and the result is not a number, I will just return as sort compare. So I will just use the default sort compare, which is just let's see. So let's just double click this first, and so it's in helper. So sort compare. Yeah, sort compare. So this is just the default sort that I use to sort all of my data. So it's not just used in reviews, but it's used in post and curated as well. So yeah, this should be the default fallback. So I guess it's shouldn't be this anymore because it would be handled here. So if either of this is null or undefined, it should return just an integer. So anything that goes here should be a number. So we could just remove this, and we'll just say that we'll just delete it first. So we'll want to say that if the rating or the if the rating is I think higher than y dot rating, so if it's higher, then it should be, I think it's -1. Yeah, -1. And if it's not, it should be 1. This is the default. I think this is the common solution to make to sort data in JavaScript. Let's just see first. So okay, I've saved it and it's rebuilding right now. Let's test it in Firefox first to see if it's still working, because we wouldn't want it to break the current performance in Firefox. Yeah, so it's still working, but I think that there's something wrong, because mob cycle should be here. Mob cycle should be first. So this should be handled by sort compare. But if we'll see in the rating, okay, so it's working. That's good news. It's working in Chromium browsers. 9 and 2.25. Yeah, that's good news. But there's still this problem, which is that this has the same rating as mob cycle. So I guess we'll have to handle that too. So if X rating is the same as Y rating, so we'll want to return just the sort compare of X and Y. Right, so if it is the same, we'll want to return this, else we'll just check if it's greater than Y or lower. If it's greater, then we'll return -1, or if it's lower, it will return 1, a positive or negative. So let's see. Okay, so it's working right now. Mob cycle appears first before Full Metal Alchemist, because it should be sorted by the year. So this 2016 and this is 2009. Same as this 4. So 2019, 2016, 14, and 11. And other than that, we'll check on the rating. Okay, but you might have noticed that this is a bit this works great and it's just fine, but we could do better. So we could simplify this into one line. That is, we'll check the ratings first if it is the same. So if X and Y has the same rating, we would want to return sort compare. Alright, X and Y. Else, so we're using a ternary operator here. So else we would want to copy this and move it here. So we could delete both of those lines and save. So this should result in the same exact result as before. So it should be the same, right? So mob cycle, yeah, the order is the same. If we check in Firefox as well, it should be the same as well. Yeah, so it's the same. Okay, so it's working on Chromium. That's great, because most users are using Chromium, and it's still working in Firefox. Although, as you can see, we could simplify this a little bit by saying that Y minus X, because as you can see, we're checking here if X is greater than Y, we will return -1 or -1. This is just the same as if y minus x, because if x is greater than y, if we reduce, so if we reduce, if this is x is 3 and y is 2, it will result into 1, which is a positive, but we would want the negative a negative value. So we could just say that if 2 minus 1 is 2 minus 3 equals minus 1, implying this implies that if y minus x, whatever the result is, it will be either negative or positive, because if it is the same, we have handled it previously in this in the first check. So there you have it. This should be the same as well. Okay, it's working, and it's working in Chromium as well. Alright, so this issue from 26th of July took a little bit longer than I hoped, because most of the users using Chromium cannot actually sort by rating, but now it's working. So I could just push the code here. So right now I'm in the master branch, and the only code that I've changed are both of these. So only the article I cast everything into 0 and search, which is this. So I guess here's what I usually do. So we'll check out into a new branch that is called probably a fix Chromium sort rating. So this is what I usually do, but you could just simply use the issue number. So you could just say fix issue number 14, but I usually want to be more verbose, so that I know what I'm doing. So I'll just say that this is a branch to fix the Chromium sort rating. So I'll just commit both of this, and I'll just say that this will fix sort by rating in Chromium. Okay, so I've actually pushed this first in another branch. So let's just say that I've pushed this. Okay, so now I've committed this, and let's see. Okay, so I've actually had another branch. Let's say that I have pushed this. So I've pushed this, and it appears in the GitHub page. So I could create a new pull request, which is this fix Chromium sort 5 days ago. Yeah, and I've added a little bit of code to simplify the unique items. So this is my old solution, which uses reduce, and it's not very efficient, and I've just simply moved it into a new set. So an array from a new set. This results in the same as this. So it returns a unique array that consists of only the tags and categories. Same for the reviews. So genres and categories is the same. Verdict as well. So as you can see, this is the same, and this is the same. So I could just create a new pull request, which is let's say fix solve Chromium solve Chromium issue. I guess this is fine. Oh, I usually use a capital Pascal case in my repository, but in other repository I used a all lowercase. So let's just say fix issue what was it, 14, I think. Yeah, issue 14. So this will say fixes 14, right? Issue 14. Yeah, I think that's enough. Let's see, pull request. I guess we could move this fix. Chromium. I guess that's better. So let's save that and fixes 14. So because I've mentioned fixes, so as you can, GitHub tells us that this pull request closes issue 14 because I said that fixes. I have this keyword, so GitHub scans the keywords in your descriptions. So you could say that it implements or it fixes or discloses the issue number. So you append the issue number here. So now when we see the issue number here, if we reload this, there will be this linked pull request, and when we open it, it will have a linked pull request that if we successfully merge a pull request, this may close the issue. It is linked here too. So fix it 14. Okay, let's say that I usually let this be and let my another day brain think for this and review the code, but I think this is pretty sufficient enough because it solves a major issue that has been going on for 26th of July. So yeah, I think it's better for us to merge a small pull request rather than a huge one at a time. So you will want to make a small and minor pull request every time to not overwhelm the reviewers that is working on the repository. So we could just squash and merge this. Okay, so if we confirm squash and merge, okay, so we should now see that it's working on the actual website. So reviews, I'm using the Firefox Microsoft Edge Chromium version here. So okay, I think it hasn't been updated yet. Oh yeah, it's still building. My bad. So after this is finished building, so after first of all is finished deploying my app, it would finish and it would appear here. I guess we'll just have to wait then. Yeah, it's still building. Yeah, so the issue is also already closed here. It automatically closed itself for me, and I didn't have to manually go to the issue and close it anymore. So if I refresh this, it should disappear from the issues tab. So there are no more issues. That's good news. That's a good indicator that a repository is being maintained well. Okay, so it's deployed and I could see it live in the production hub. Okay, so now it's working, and you could immediately check for yourself and go to master-tab/reviews and choose sort by rating. It will be successfully sorted. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.